So the second type in grouting is compaction grouting. Now we have seen the first type, which is permeation grouting. So in permeation grouting, what was our motto is that we used a very fluid slurry as a grout, and then we were dependent on the soil structure, that there will be pores in the soil, it will be a permeable soil, and then when we inject this liquid or a slurry or the grout into the soil, then this grout will spread into these pores between the soil structure, and then it will fill the pores and then improve the properties of that ground. So that was our assumption in the permeation grouting, and that actually happens. Coming to the second type, compaction grouting. So in this, now the word compaction is important to understand how we are going to improve or implement this grouting. So compaction is nothing but, you have studied compaction in detail in your geotechnical engineering. So what you have studied or what you have performed as a practical was the Proctor test, in which you took some soil sample and you filled it in a mold, standard mold, in some layers, and each layer you compacted it with some blows of hammer. Okay. The hammer had some specific weight and it was having a definite fall through which it impacted on your soil, and then it was compacted. So compaction is nothing but you expel or you remove all the air voids in your soil system. So that is nothing but compaction, and we remove this air voids by externally applying the force. In the case of Proctor test, it was a hammer which was used to remove this air voids. Okay? And in that way you achieve that density, and then you find out that optimum moisture content. So now coming to the grouting part, when I'm saying that it's compaction grouting, so it doesn't mean that I'm going to use a hammer. Okay, I am going to remove the air voids in the soil structure. Okay, this is going to be there, but the hammering action is not going to be there. Instead, what we are going to do is we are going to use the pressure through which we are injecting the grout. Okay, so what we do in this is, you have a grout which is low workable, okay, or workability is less. That means it's sort of a dense one. Just imagine that it's a cement mortar kind of thing. So in permeation grouting, you had a fluid kind of slurry which we used as a grout. So there we assume that it can be, or not assume, we saw that it can be a cement and water mixture simply. Okay. No fine aggregate or sand was involved. But in this compaction grouting, we need a grout which is less workable, okay, having less workability. So that's why if you consider a cement mortar with less water content, so that will be having low workability. Okay. And then what we do is we inject this grout into the soil, and due to which the soil moves. Okay, now this is important. In permeation grouting, we were not moving the soil because our grout, it was so liquid or so fluid that it didn't have that much force, or it couldn't apply that much force that it would move the soil particles. So what it did was it just filled the voids between the soil particles. But now in case of this compaction grouting, what is done is, the grout what we are using, it is having some strength in it, okay, and we are injecting it. So we are injecting under pressure. So what we are doing is, due to that pressure and due to the characteristics of that grout, your soil gets moved, okay, and due to this movement, then what happens, the soil is moved and then your air voids are removed. So what I'm saying is, suppose these are the soil particles. If I just magnify some portion and I'm drawing this, assume this. So this is the soil, these are the soil particles, and there are obviously some voids in between these soil particles. Okay. Now, if I'm saying that what I'm doing, I'm injecting some grout in this. Okay. Suppose I inject the grout over here. Okay. This is the entry point of that grout. So now that grout would what it will do, suppose this is the grout, okay, Now this grout, we are injecting it under some pressure. Okay? So it will push the particles, this soil particles, they will be pushed, okay, in all direction, all possible direction. The soil particles will be pushed. So in this process, what is going to happen is the voids, they are going to, or you're reducing the voids simply by rearranging your soil particles. So at the end of the process, what you will get is maybe something like this, that this is your grout, and these are the soil particles which have now rearranged themselves because there is introduction of another material, which is the grout. Okay, so it might look something like this, or it will look something like this. Okay, so now here you see the density is, surely you can say that density is increased because you see less number of voids as compared to this figure. Okay, as compared to this figure on the right side, the figure with a grout portion or a grout bulb in between the soil particles, that is having more density. So obviously we have compacted the soil. Okay. So I hope you have understood the difference. Compaction by just hammering action is different, and compaction grouting, it is different. In both the cases, we are removing the air voids, but what we are differing is the way in which we are removing the air voids. So in case of hammering action, we are applying some load, dropping it from some height, and then we are rearranging the soil particles and removing the air voids. In this compaction grouting, we are introducing a grout which has the ability to move the soil particles, and ultimately due to that the air voids are going to reduce. So that's the concept in compaction grouting. So the grouting bulb at the lower end, it expands, which leads to compression of the surrounding soil. So this is just what I demonstrated in this two figures that I have drawn, sketches that I have drawn. Okay. And this method is suitable, or it is mostly used if you have to avoid the differential settlement in your soil, differential settlement in your foundation. Okay, or you have to construct something on loose soil. So before actually starting the construction, before excavating it and placing your foundation, you have to first compact that soil, and one of the compaction method is this compaction grouting. Okay, and it can be also used in a certain application to stabilize the existing foundation. Okay. And the grouts, as I said, one of the grout that can be used is Portland cement, sand, and water. It's simply the cement mortar that you know. And then another can be fly ash, bentonite, and water. Okay. So both of these grouts can be used as a compaction grouting. And the steps, now the first step remains common, that you have to drill into the soil up to a desired depth. So suppose you have to stabilize the soil up to 2 meter depth. Okay, from ground level up to 2 meter, you have to stabilize it. Okay, or from 1 meter to 2 meter. Let's take that case, not 1 meter also. Let's take 0.5 meter. That this is the ground level. Okay, and then you have to stabilize this portion, that is 0.5 meter from the ground level up to 2 meters, suppose. Okay, because that is where your foundation is going to be resting, somewhere in between. So what I will do is I am going to drill first into this area that I am desiring to improve the soil properties, and then I am going to, after drilling, I will start the grouting process. I'll start injecting the grout. So you can see this step number 2. Okay, so in step number 2, I have started injecting the grouting. Now what it is shown is that a bulb kind of formation is there. Okay, so as I told you, this grout is not that much fluid. It is having low viscosity, so it will not spread, but it will form a lump. And because we are injecting it, it has that pressure, so it will form a homogeneous lump in the soil itself. And from where it will get this volume, extra volume, So that extra volume will be compensated by reducing the air voids in the adjoining soil structure. Okay, once this bulb is formed, then this drilling case, it will be withdrawn or taken up, and then the second bulb will be formed just above the first one. Okay, then again the same process, it will be withdrawn, and then the third. So in this way you will get a sort of a pile kind of a structure. Okay, not a running pile, straight pile, but a pile in form of a bulb. Okay, so in this way, now what has happened is, if I just consider this much portion of that soil, so previously it would have some density, and now due to introduction of the soil bulbs, grout bulbs, now the density of this whole structure or whole phase has increased. Okay, so that is what we had to achieve, that we had to achieve the compaction, right? And another example for this, it's not permeation grouting. The example for compaction grouting, it is to stabilize the existing foundation. Now suppose this is the foundation that you have and you have to stabilize it. You are not sure that, or you will be having some excavation here, suppose, and you have to stabilize this foundation. Okay, so what you'll do is, you'll, same as I told you, drilling into the desired area will be the first step. Then once you reach the desired depth, then you will go on to injecting the grout. Okay, and then the bottommost bulb will be formed, and then you start withdrawing the drilling case and simultaneously creating such bulbs. Okay, so in this way you will stabilize the soil, and then this foundation will be stabilized, and then maybe you can have a excavation over here. So in that case, this soil will not move, or because its density is increased, so the excavation work or the construction work in this area, it will not affect the foundation as such. Okay, so this is the second method of grouting, that is compaction grouting. Okay, moving on to the next method, that is the jet grouting. Now again, from the name itself, we can just get some hint that what is going to be jet grouting. So jet, as in you are going to have some fluid, okay, and which is going to be injected with a lot of pressure. Okay, so whatever pressure we had seen in permeation grouting or compaction grouting, so this pressure in jet grouting, it will be more than that, and obviously it's a jet, so that fluid should be having a lot of workability, or it should be very fluid in nature, less viscosity type of fluid. Okay, so this is the hint that we can get from the title itself. What is happening actually in jet grouting is that you have a nozzle, and that nozzle is capable of rotating. Okay, and through this nozzle, rotating nozzle, you inject a grout into the ground, and that injection is done under high pressure. Okay, and due to this high pressure, what happens is the soil around this nozzle, it will get eroded and it will be pushed. Okay, and once it is pushed, then you will get a void in your system, and that void will be filled by the grout that we have injected. Okay, so sort of it is the same thing that we are doing in compaction grouting. In compaction grouting also we did the same, that we introduced that grout and it formed a bulb, and then it reduced the air voids and created its own space into the system. Okay, here also it's going to be the same in jet grouting, that you are injecting that grout as a jet under high pressure, which is going to push the soil, and then it is going to create some void which is going to be filled by the grout itself. Okay, and this method, it is almost effective in all types of soil. Okay, and it can target specific depth. It's you can accurately, if you need to stabilize the soil at suppose 2.5 meter depth, so it can exactly, you can stabilize the soil only in that region. Okay, so you can be depth specific over there. Okay, but generally it's a messy process. Why it's messy? Because if you try to apply this at a shallow depth, suppose at just 30 centimeter from the ground level, if I try jet grouting, so what is going to happen is, because of this high pressure, the pressure is way too high than your normal one in the permeation of the compaction grouting. So due to this high pressure and that grout, it is in a fluid form. So the 25 or 30 centimeter ground above that you have, it is not going to support this pressure itself. So it will create a splash of your grout itself, and it will be just a fountain kind of thing, a grout fountain that will be emerging from the ground itself. Okay? So this you have to keep in mind, that it cannot be applied for shallow depth work, okay, because of that high pressure. And generally the grout again uses simple OPC plus water, ordinary Portland cement plus water. Okay. And this is a schematic of how the process is done. So first step is you do the drilling. Okay. So you start by drilling a small diameter hole, generally 90 to 150 mm of diameter is there, and it is drilled up to the final injection depth. So as I told you, this method can be very depth specific, that suppose I want to only stabilize this much depth of your ground. Okay, what green portion you see, so that is suppose a weaker soil strata that you have, and the orange ones are quite good soil strata which has good strength. Okay, so you need not stabilize those one, you only need to stabilize this green portion. So I'll first drill up to that depth, and that drilling dimensions are given here. Okay. And then cement mixture is injected into this. So in the second step, if you see, there is some gray silver kind of a rectangle at the bottom. Okay. So that is the grout which has spread. Now you can see it rectangle, but actually it's a cylinder that is formed. So at the end, what you are going to get is a cylinder kind of a cemented pillar. Okay, cylindrical pillar you can say, because we are considering it's OPC plus water. Okay. So this kind of structure you will get at the end. So the cement mixture which is injected into the soil with a metal rod, it moves through this nozzle, and as I told you, that nozzle is capable of rotating continuously in a high speed. So that rotational motion, and simultaneously there is a withdrawal motion as in the upward movement of this nozzle. Okay. So due to that, what happens is that nozzle, it is continuously rotating, it is continuously spraying that grout under high pressure, and it is moving upwards also. So due to that, it will in a spiral form, it will just push the soil and it will get filled with the grout. Okay. And the applications for this type of jet grouting, it is in the underpinning of operation. Okay. Underpinning or excavation support. Underpinning is nothing but you have an existing structure, and then that structure, over the years, the foundation becomes weak. Maybe the foundation gets damaged, or there is some issue and it starts settling. So you need not damage the whole structure, because the superstructure is good, if suppose, and only the substructure or the footings, they are sort of damaged. So what you can do is temporarily you can support the whole superstructure on the existing ground. Okay, sort of it just acts like a jack that you use to your vehicle when it's puncture and you have to remove the puncture. So you apply a jack to your vehicle so that it lifts, and that jack does the work of temporarily the wheels. So in same way, this underpinning is nothing but it's temporary support that is given to your superstructure, and in that much time period, the substructure is replaced, or whatever is the retrofitting or whatever is the corrective measures you have to take. So that is done, and then again the underpinning is removed. So that's the process of underpinning. So you can use this kind of grouting over there, or if you have a soft soil, so you can stabilize it, or even for groundwater or pollution control. So as I told you, at the end, what you are going to get is such cylindrical piles you are going to get. So if I do this grouting in a series without keeping any gap, so what I'll get is a wall kind of a thing. Okay? But only difference is that wall will be built of this cylindrical shape. Okay? So this wall, then you can this wall, it can act like a barrier, so that's why you can use it in ground control, groundwater control, or pollution of groundwater control. So you can have a partition kind of thing in under your ground level. So that's the jet grouting. And again, if I show you the stepwise schematic, so first you are going to drill into the desired area. The first step is almost same for every type of grouting, that you drilled into the desired area. Then you inject the grout, and if you focus on this portion, so now you see this is the nozzle that I was talking about, that this nozzle, it is capable of rotating at a high speed and it sprays the grout. So due to that rotation and the force in spraying, or the high pressure through which it is sprayed, so that helps in movement of your soil. Okay. And then again, if you concentrate on this portion, so this is the nozzle, and here you can see a small jet. Okay. And this is rotating, it will displace the soil and continuously replace it with the grout. Okay. Or if it is not displacing it up to a maximum capacity, it will at least fill all the voids, and then it will form a mixture. So this rotating movement and this pressure, it creates the mixing in the soil itself. Okay. So you might have mixed cement and water, or cement, sand and water. Okay. So while mixing, what we do is, if you have to mix it in a tray, you first pour sand, then you pour cement, you mix it, dry mix it, and then you make a heap, and then just in between you make a depression, and then you add water, and then you start mixing. So now this cannot be done underground, because we are not sending any men down there. So this mixing process is done by this high pressure grout itself. So that high pressure grout, it will mix with the soil, and it will form a soil plus grout paste kind of thing, and which is going to set in due course of time. Okay. And then while injecting the grout, the rotational motion of the injector and the raising of the injector pipe is simultaneous. So that's what I said, that this nozzle, it is rotating. At the same time, you can lift this nozzle up also. So both this movement, rotation as well as lifting, takes place simultaneously, and due to that you get such cylindrical columns kind of a thing. Okay. And you see there is a gap in this, but if you want to use this for some partitioning kind of thing, so you can very well just overlap with the previous grouted section also. So there will be no gap in between, and you will get a straight series of wall without any gap. Okay. And in this jet grouting also, there are a few types. So the types are basically based on how many grouts or how many fluids you are using, not grouts also, how many fluids you are using. So a basic one is a single fluid grout, so in which you have this nozzle, and only one type of fluid is injected into the soil, that is the grout itself. Okay. But this system, or the single fluid system or type, has a limitation that we are only utilizing grout. So that grout is injected through or under some, the grout is injected under some pressure. So that pressure, we are assuming that pressure, it will displace the soil also, it will mix the grout with the soil also, and then it will set over there. Okay. But this pressure is not just doing this thing, or not just doing all these things, but it is also overcoming the resistance. Okay. Because if I am saying that I am going to move or try to move the soil particles or mix the soil particles with the help of this pressure, so obviously the soil, there is going to be some resistance from the soil, because it's a huge homogeneous or even different layers of soil that you have around surrounding your drilled area as well. Okay. So there is going to be some resistance. So all of that kinetic energy that you have given to the grout in the form of that pressure, that will be lost in overcoming that resistance. So that's the main disadvantage of your single fluid system. So to overcome that, we go to this second type, that is double fluid. Now in this, you have the same nozzle, okay, nothing changes. The only difference is now from that nozzle, two fluids are coming out. One is the air and second is the grout. And if you see the structure also, so the grout is in between and then it is wrapped, kind of wrapped in the or there is a air which has been wrapped around the grout. Okay. Now it might seem a very theoretical or just what you can say non-practical concept, because you will say that how come air will be wrapped around the grout. But if you do this under high pressure, as I told you, I'm repeating it every time that the pressure is too high. Okay, so under high pressure it can happen that your grout, it will be surrounded by compressed air as well. Okay. So now here we are using two fluids, so that's why there is more amount of kinetic energy that has been imparted to the fluid, and then that will be taking care of the resistance which is there from the soil and the surrounding ground. Okay. And now we only need the grout. Okay. We don't need this air to set inside the ground itself, because if it sets, then we are again creating extra air voids. Okay. We are doing all this process to remove the air voids and to increase the density of your soil or strengthen your soil. But if we keep this air as it is in the system, we are differing from our aim itself. Okay. So instead of this, what we do is, this air only has one work, that to impart that extra kinetic energy. After that, it has no work in setting of the grout. So it can be airlifted. Okay. Now you remember airlift dredging. In airlift dredging, we had done the same thing, that we had pumped in some compressed air in form of a blast, okay, bubbles, large bubbles, and then those bubbles were just allowed to rise in another big pipe, and due to that rising, it took all the soil also with itself. Okay. So the same process will be done here, that this air, it will be given another passage to rise through this maybe same pipe or another same. If it's the same pipe, it will be a coaxial pipe. Okay, either that will be the thing or it will be another pipe. So through that, this air can then leave the system, and then only grout will remain, which will set, and you'll get a firm or a solid pillar of your grout. Okay, so that's the double fluid. And one more advancement over this double fluid is your triple fluid grouting. So now in this, again the nozzle is same, but now only difference is, now you have three kinds of fluid and you have two outlets for this fluid. So this is outlet 1, this is outlet 2. So the outlet 2 is at the bottommost side of your nozzle. Okay. Or there is a second nozzle, you can say. Instead of outlet, you can see it nozzle as well. So the second nozzle, it is as the at the bottommost surface, and the first nozzle is somewhere above that nozzle number 2. And from the first nozzle, you get water and air, which is injected under high pressure into the soil system. Okay. And this water and air, it will now do the work of weakening the soil and pushing it back, and then you will have a grout spread simultaneously. Okay. So the process remains same, only the way in which the fluids are used that differs. In single fluid you have just grout, in double fluid you have air and grout, and in third one you have water, air and grout. Okay. And in third one, or the triple fluid type of jet grouting, you have to just remember that this air and water, it is injected under high pressure, but then you need not inject this grout at a high pressure. So the grout is delivered at a lower velocity. Lower velocity means less pressure than the water and air jet. So I'm not saying that it is having very less pressure. It is having some pressure, but it is less as compared to the pressure that we are imparting to the water air jet. All right. And one more thing that you can take care of, this grout, it should not be having more fluid nature, or it should not be more workable, because already we are introducing water in our system. So anyways, we can't remove this water. We will, otherwise it will become a grouting plus dewatering technique. So we'll not do anything for this water. We'll keep that water as it is. So you can reduce that water content in this grout itself, so that it gets mixed with this water and then it will form or solidify later. Okay? Only air we can expel out by airlift. All right. So this is about the jet grouting. Okay. We'll stop here for today. In the next lecture, we'll see another type, which is hydrofracture grouting.